What's up everyone, Erika here, and I'm back today with another video for you. If you are new to my channel, my name is Erika DeOcampo. I do makeup content, Disney content, mom content, all of the content. I wanted to film a full-blown how I get full coverage ready for either an all-day event, a major glam event, an important day in your life event, whatever the case may be. I wanted to show you from beginning to end how I do my makeup. I talked through a lot of it. Some parts you might see sped up just for the sake of time, but for the most part, I've showed you in depth how I do a full face of makeup using full coverage products. I show you how I do my eyebrows. I show you how I do my eyeshadow, my winged liner, even my false lashes. So if that is something that you are interested in seeing, please be sure to check this video out and don't miss the other ones that are coming. I don't want a really long intro, so if you want to see me get this full coverage face makeup, then please keep watching. Okay, you guys, so I am starting out with this very bare face. I don't wash my face in the morning. I wash my face at night before bed, and I have a routine. I heard from a dermatologist a long time ago that it isn't good to wash your face in the morning because you're almost like priming and exfoliating and getting your face ready to just add a bunch of crap onto it. That is obviously not the professional way to say it, but that's just the way I'm going to describe it to you. So as you can see, my face has a lot of redness. I have a lot of blemishes going on here. If I'm being frank with you, it is that time of the month. It's not always the nicest to me, especially with the breakouts. Anyway, that is why I'm going to be going very full coverage today. So it's 10:03 right now, and I do have plans for this evening. We're taking Juliana to her first Padre game. So since we won't be leaving until closer to 4, I really need my makeup to last. And I don't really want everybody to see all these blemishes on my face, even though I'm putting this out into the internet so they're gonna see it if they really want to. So my most full coverage makeup ever is my MAC Studio Fix Fluid. So I've tried a lot of foundations over the years, and I will say that this Studio Fix Fluid is the most full coverage that I'm like the most comfortable with, I guess I should say. I think I want to use my beauty blender today, so I'm gonna go dampen this guy and I will be right back. Here's a nice little before. It's filthy. And here is the after. It's still filthy. What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna use my finger. I have some foundation pumped onto a little plate, if you will. I'm going to just apply this with my finger. Now this foundation, I will be very honest with you, is, like I've said, full coverage. But I mean, if this is something like an important day, that's really what I'm trying to show you here, is that if you have an event, usually if I'm going to like a wedding or somewhere that I want my makeup to last all day and look like it was professionally done, this is the foundation that I always go to. I make sure that I always have this in stock. And in stock, I mean like I have my right shade and everything. When I was just in my friend's wedding recently, I did my own makeup, and this is the foundation that I used. So now that I have kind of it spread all over my face, I'm gonna just blend it out with my beauty blender. So the point in using the beauty blender is you really want to focus on pouncing it over the foundation and blending it in. You want to avoid swiping. And as always, you want to make sure that we bring it down the neck. And in these problem areas, don't ever feel like you need to add more foundation to a specific spot. If you have a foundation that is full coverage enough, you won't need to add extra foundation. One layer of it should do the trick. As you can see, look at that. The redness that I had here, I had this blemish that was kind of red, this huge one here. I had plenty of blemishes, let me tell you. So I really like to take my time around my eyes and around my nose. I tend to look really dry around my nose for some reason, which is very strange because I feel like I'm very oily. So I don't know how it could look dry, but it does. So I really like to press it in around my nose. Okay, so now that I feel like everything's nice and blended in, I like to kind of take a look at my neck and make sure that it's pretty seamless. It's not a huge line separating the two. This is when I will go ahead and apply my chapstick. I guess I don't really need to tell you guys this, but it's part of my routine, so I'm gonna do it. All right, so next we're gonna move on to brows. And since I am going to be doing a very in-depth video, I'm gonna leave this in. So there are two different ways that I do my brows. I feel like I've showed you the normal way I do them, so I'm gonna show you the different way that I've been trying to do my brows lately. And just for the purpose of saving time, I think I will probably just show you guys doing one brow and not the other. That way you're not watching a 30-minute makeup tutorial. So the very first thing that I do is with the spoolie, I usually use the one that's on my brow product. Oh, also every product that I mentioned will be listed down below with my colors, my shade, and everything. I am using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in soft brown. So first thing I do is brush my brow hairs up just to kind of see what I'm working with here. This is kind of when I'll take a look and see if there are any brows that I need to pluck. And honestly, there are a few, so let me grab those real quick. Next, I'm going to use my e.l.f. brow gel. It's the dual-ended one. One says eyebrow and one says eyelash. It's the same product with just a different spoolie, so I honestly use them both on my brows. First, go through my eyebrows with the gel, and I take my time with this. I like to really make sure that the gel gets in there. And I like to go for that nice fluffy brow look first. Don't get discouraged. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this to both brows. Make sure we have enough product on here. So after I feel like they're full enough, I'll kind of comb through them just to tame them a little bit. So that's essentially the brow shape I wanna go for today. I'm gonna dry these off a little bit. Okay, so letting my brows dry does take a little bit of time, so I guess account for that. The next step in doing my brows is pretty much the same thing that I always do. I guess the difference is that I put the brow gel in before I fill them in because I feel like it gives me a nice shape to follow, and I feel like it kind of puts the hairs in the place that they will stay, so I don't need to overly fill them in. I can just see where some areas are a little sparse and fill them in there. So I first focus on drawing this tail here. And kind of mapping out the end of my brow, which I think I've mentioned this trick before, but if you line up a brow pencil with your eye, line it up to your nose and your eye, that's where the tail should meet. So I have my brow wiz against my nose, lined up against my eye, and you see the tail of my brow is just right there. So once I have that, I will kind of head towards the front. Use a very light hand in the front because you don't want it to look too harsh, if you will. So from there, I will start filling in the middle and the tail portion. Okay, now that we finished the tail end of the brow, or the middle and the end, I'm gonna start focusing on the front. So this is, I'm gonna try to show this as best as I can, but now that we have that bottom line filled in the front, now what I like to do is take my pencil and ever so gently kind of flick my brush to create hair-like strokes. And I'm very, very aggressive with the spoolie when it comes to the front because I don't want it to look boxy, I don't want it to look harsh. Honestly, you guys, this is real life. I'm trying to film it, and the one day that I'm filming these brows is the day that they look the worst. So I'm gonna attempt this brow and see if this one comes out any better. Yeah, this one came out way better than this one. And that happens sometimes, so don't get discouraged. Okay, so that's gonna be as good as it gets for brows for now. I'm probably gonna go back in and mess with them a little bit more later on. Okay, so the next step in this whole getting ready process for me is going to be my eyes, my eyeshadow, my eyeliner, and my lashes. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I will be back to finish the rest of my face. Whew, I am back. I am back, you guys. I have got my eyeshadow, my wing liner, my lashes. We're ready to move on to the rest of this face. So I am going to move on to concealer. I always use my Tarte Shape Tape, and honestly, the only reason I'm not going to use it today is because I feel like I use it in every tutorial, and I understand that sometimes it's like, come on Erika, give us some variety. So for that reason, and that reason alone, is why I am not using it today. Today I'm going to be using the BooBoo Cover Up Concealer. I think I got this concealer in like an Ipsy glam bag a while ago, and my goodness, you guys, this concealer is so great. I've repurchased it I think twice now. It's really good. I just don't love the applicator. It is a little like, I have to pump it onto my finger. That's okay. So all I'm doing now is I'm taking the smallest amount because it is very full coverage, and I'm just going to apply this in patting motions under my eyes. I like to kind of get along the side of my nose and in this little crevice here where I mentioned before I tend to look a little dry. And then with whatever's left, I'll apply some here on my chin, a little right in between my brows, and then I will take my beauty blender. I think I gotta go dampen him again, so I'll be right back. All right, so we're gonna move quick here. I'm going to use the pointy side per usual and just get up in here and really blend out this concealer. If you are not a fan of the really bright under eye, I would suggest using a concealer that's a little bit more matching with your skin tone. I personally have bags and I love the look of a really bright under eye. So for me, I do like to use a shade that's a few shades lighter than my natural skin tone and a little lighter than my foundation. So the pointier side of the beauty blender is really nice because you can get into these very delicate areas under your eye and really line up under your eyeliner. That way it looks like a nice clean line. If you can see, this concealer is just blending out beautifully. It's not even leaving me a really harsh line from my foundation to my concealer, which is really nice. And then with the fatter side that had the foundation on it, I will just kind of go over everything and make sure that everything is nice and blended. So from here, we gotta move fairly quickly. We do not want this concealer to crease. So with that, I'm going to take my beauty blender and I am dunking it in my Mercier Translucent Powder. And I am going to first just place it on the side of my nose and then blend it down. I do this because I feel like where I need the most coverage as far as not getting oily is on my nose and not really under my eyes. Under my eyes, I'm more so doing that so it doesn't crease. So again, I'm just applying this on the side of my nose and then I will drag it over here. Of course, we don't want to forget everywhere else that we put powder. On our chin, do a little bit up here. So it's really up to you. The longer that you leave this powder on, the more stark it's gonna look. So I don't tend to leave my powder on there too much. Usually by the time I'm done applying powder everywhere that I want it, I will be ready to clean it off. So that's pretty good for me. Okay, so I am now going to be using my Real Techniques setting brush and I'm just gonna dust off this powder. We do not need excess powder. We just want it to set everything, set it and forget it. All right, so now you can tell that we're looking a little bright, like extremely bright, but that's what I'm going for. We want that bright under eye. We want to look like we rested, you know? Moving right along to contour. So I'm going to be using my tried and true, my #1 favorite bronzer on earth. That is the MAC Give Me Sun bronzer. I'm going to be using this with a Real Techniques contour brush. Mine looks a little flat, but what I do is I kind of take the edge of it and kind of dunk it in there. And you are going to run this on that cheekbone line. We are casting a shadow here to make our cheeks look really chiseled and just very sunken. We're really thin. We're just trying to add some shadow. We're trying to add some color back to our face. And I don't like to do a harsh contour anymore. I feel like the harsh contour was a trend for a really long time. I don't know if I ever did it like too dramatically, but I like to focus it here, kind of in where your sideburns are, I guess, and a little bit further down. The furthest you want to bring it is kind of the outside, like the tail end of your eye. If you bring it any further down here, it'll give you a little bit more of like a masculine look. So I am going to apply it strictly in this area. I will bring it down my chin a little bit. Again, we did apply a very bright concealer, so I'm also just utilizing this to add some color back into my face. My hair is crazy today, y'all. I tend to pull my hair back like this because I like to bring this brush into my hairline. If you notice, it's very white up here, which I'm not gonna be dragging bronzer into like up into my hairline too much, but if it makes it look a little more natural, then why not? So essentially I just want them to look similar, and I will do some on the forehead. I don't have any additional product on my brush. I'm just kind of using whatever I have left to give me some sun. And I'm gonna do the same thing along my nose, just adding a bit of color. All right, so that's gonna do it for contour. Next for blush, I wanted to talk about this because I feel like I have quite a few clients who don't love blush. They don't wear it too frequently. They're more of like bronzer and highlight, or just bronzer, which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Preference is preference. But I love blush. I think it's a really fresh, youthful piece of getting ready that a lot of people don't utilize. So don't forget your blush. Fun fact, blush is the first part of your makeup that will kind of go away and diminish throughout the night. So I kind of tend to load it on, if you will. I don't necessarily mean load it on, but I guess if you're not used to blush at all and then I put it on, you're like, whoa. Okay, so I am going to use a soft kind of plum pink blush. This is by Bare Minerals in the shade Ready. This actually came in a little bridal kit. So I'm just gonna take some blush here, and this is a angled BH Cosmetics brush. And the best way to apply blush is to kind of do a cheesy smile and brush it back into your contour. Doesn't have to be just here on the apples of your cheeks. If you blend it back a little bit, it kind of looks a little more like a flush of color as opposed to just blush red on your cheeks. Again, it's not an extreme amount of color, but just enough to bring some youthful blushing tones to your face. That was weird. Moving on to the fun part, we are moving on to highlight. Today, let's see, which highlight do I want to use today? The Desi X Katy collab that they did with Dose of Colors, and this is in the shade Fuego. And I'm going to be using my handy dandy fan brush by Morphe. Just dusting this bad boy in there. And right along the cheekbone, you're just gonna dust this on. See that glow? Let's go ahead and hit the other side. Just gives that kind of nice sheen that we want. Not greasy or sweaty, but just a nice little glow. If you want to take your contour to the next level, this is obviously optional. I sometimes like to draw a little bit of powder right down here. No extreme lines. I'm just gonna kind of press some powder. And if you can see, it looks really extreme now, but I just brush it away a little, and it just kind of gives the appearance that your face is very chiseled. All right, so I'm gonna take this highlight and go the extra mile here. I'm gonna take this small detailer brush from Morphe. It's very small. I'm going to just draw some highlight right here, down the bridge of my nose. I'm going to apply some to the tip of my nose and then the Cupid's bow here. If you want, you can also just pop some here on the inner corner. This is just a nice way to combine your highlight with different areas of your face, and it kind of just pulls everything together, in my opinion. I love an inner corner highlight. I feel like it makes you look very awake and just very bright-eyed. One of the last few things that I'm going to do that I didn't do before is I'm going to apply some mascara to my lower lashes. I wait to do this step because when I'm applying my concealer, I don't want to be going to town with this and then get mascara on my under eyes while I'm trying to blend everything out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I am using the L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara, which is perfect because it has this really, really tiny brush. And ever so carefully not mess up the masterpiece of our concealer. So the last step is going to be applying your lip color. A trick that I like to do is, as you saw, I did put on some chapstick in the beginning. It's given my lips enough time to absorb that chapstick so they're not going to be dry and crusty, because who wants that, right? I am going to take a clean tissue and clean off my lips. This is going to remove any makeup that might be on my lips while taking off dead skin and exfoliating my lips for the lip products that we're about to apply. So if you can tell, doing that definitely brought some natural color back to my lips. It will also plump your lips up just a teeny bit, which is always a great thing. Now for my choice of lip color. When I have a big event, what I first will do is outline and then fill my lips in with a lip liner. Over top, I will apply a liquid lipstick. That way I can just throw in either my liquid lip or the lip liner or both, and I will be set to go all night. So I love me a brown nude, so I am going to be going with Spice by MAC today. So when lining your lips, it's totally up to you the method that you use. You can overline them or not. I tend to stick to my normal lip shade because I do have full lips as it is. But after you've applied your lip liner and whatever lip color you choose, that's it. That's the finished look. Okay, so now that our makeup is completely finished, this is the final look. One step that I will never forget to do is apply my setting spray. I always stick to what I know, and that is the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. Okay, so now that my setting spray is on, we have everything locked in. I am certain that this makeup is gonna last until this evening. I love the way that this makeup turned out. It is very dramatic and very va-va-voom, but not being so over the top. If you have a special event or just a plain date night out and you recreate this look, please tag me in it. I would love to see your recreations. I wanted to give you guys a full-blown look on how I get ready when I have a very important day or something that I want my makeup to last all night. So I hope that this was beneficial to you in one way or another. Please be sure you check out all the videos that I did to get this look. I did how I create my face doing a full coverage routine. I also show you how I achieved this eyeshadow look along with wing liner that will not budge. And lastly, how to apply false lashes. If any of those videos are of interest to you, please keep an eye out. I have those videos coming out very soon. As always, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this video, and I hope to see you back for the next one. Bye!